want you to listen to this. Those of you who are concerned about the politicization of the IRS, tax time's coming up for those of us who actually pay taxes. I want you to listen to this. What's going on in this building? You ready? This is actually from the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, the House of Representatives. New IRS emails. Lois Lerner funneled Elijah Cummings, remember the ranking Democrat on the committee who had a conniption fit, information on targeted conservative group. I said, wow, that caught my attention. Newly delivered internal IRS email sent and received by former IRS exempt organizations director Lois Lerner and other IRS employees show that House Oversight and Government Reform Committee minority staff, the Democrats, working for ranking member Elijah Cummings, a Democrat from Baltimore, began contacting the IRS in August 2012 about targeted nonprofit applicant True the Vote. Now, isn't this lady who had every damn federal agency down her throat? Yes. Matter of fact, I met her at the Tea Party Patriots event. Very intelligent lady. I did say lady because, the Democrats are protecting women against, the Republicans. They believe in fair play and contraceptives and, yes. Well, except this woman. She hated this woman. Excuse me. They hate this woman. And the reason is because she doesn't agree with Obama. She's part of the Klan like all the rest of us, apparently. Listen to how sick the left is. I don't care if it's a former baseball player or a member of the Senate or the president. These people, look how they talk, like a bunch of idiots. I mean real idiots. Look up the word. All right, where was I? Anyway, remember Elijah Cummings? He was flipping out, demanding an apology from ISA, the Congressional Black Caucus, Pelosi, all very, very angry. Hey, you cut off Elijah Cummings. You don't do that. I want you to listen to what these people were doing behind the scenes in the shadows, how squirrely they are. The IRS produced this email involving True the Vote, this conservative organization, I would call it, on April 2nd, 2014, only days after Oversight Committee members had taken new IRS Commissioner Josh Kosenin to task for withholding relevant emails. The chairman and 5 subcommittee chairmen on the Oversight Committee today sent a letter to ranking member Cummings demanding an explanation for his staff's queries. That's right, I said queries. Why the minority hid these efforts from the majority, and why the ranking member denied such actions by his staff at a February subcommittee hearing. All right, we're in the weeds a little bit. Follow this. The IRS and the oversight minority, the Democrats, led by Cummings, made numerous requests for virtually identical information from the IRS about True the Vote, that group, raising concerns that the IRS improperly shared protected taxpayer information with Representative Cummings' staff. So the IRS has withheld a lot of this information, saying, as a matter of law, we can't give it to you. But we can give it to the Democrats. Yes. 5 days after Cummings contacted True the Vote, he contacted this group, seeking, quote, copies of all training materials used for volunteers, affiliates, or other entities, unquote, the IRS sent True the Vote a letter requesting that it provide, quote, a copy of its volunteer registration form, the process you use to assign volunteers, how you keep your volunteers in teams, and how your volunteers are deployed following the training they receive by you. In other words, the Internal Revenue Service, which is supposed to be nonpartisan, civil servant, professional, was working hand in glove with the Democrats on the committee, going after this woman and her group. Oh, there's nothing here. Why are we investigating this? What do you mean a special prosecutor? Hey, there's nothing here. I'm not done. On or before January 25, 2013, a little over a year ago, the Democrat staff under Cummings requested more information from the IRS about this group, True the Vote. The head of the IRS Legislative Affairs Office emailed several IRS officials, including Lois Lerner, that, quote, House Oversight Committee minority staff sought information about True the Vote. On Monday, January 28, 2013, Lois Lerner, remember her? I plead the fifth, that one. Lerner wrote to her deputy, Holly Paz, quote, did we find anything? In other words, on this group, for the minorities, the minority, the Democrats. When Paz informed her minutes later that she had not heard back about True the Vote's information, Lerner replied, thanks. Check tomorrow, please. No wonder you pled the fifth. On January 31, 2013, Paz, remember she was reporting to Lois Lerner, attached True the Vote's Form 990s. A Form 990 is the tax return for a tax-exempt organization. So Paz attached True the Vote's tax return, which she authorized the IRS to share with the minority staff, the Democrats. Neither Cummings, the head Democrat on the committee, nor the IRS shared these requested documents with the oversight majority, in other words, with the chairman and his staff. None of the minority's communications about True the Vote with the IRS were shared with the committee majority, even though ranking member Cummings, the ranking Democrat, frequently complains about the committee majority contacting individuals on official matters without the involvement of minority staff. And then get this. A month ago, Cummings denied that his staff, quote, might have been involved in putting True the Vote on the radar screen of some of these federal agencies. Cummings and his staff were out to destroy this group and this woman at True the Vote with the assistance of the IRS. They were prodding the IRS. This man is the ranking Democrat on the committee overseeing the Internal Revenue Service, and he was participating in the conduct that is at a minimum unethical, that he was supposed to be investigating and overseeing. This is why he tried to shut down this investigation and always has. This is why he sought to obstruct the questioning. This is why he had a fit and tried to turn it into a racial matter, because he's in on the cover-up. And here's the question, ladies and gentlemen. Why would the ranking Democrat on this committee want to cover up what took place unless it goes higher? I mean this. Also today, thanks to, among others, the Washington Times, we learned that the mentality, the environment that exists at the Internal Revenue Service in some quarters. Stephen Denon points out that even as the IRS faces growing heat over the Lois Lerner and Tea Party targeting scandal, a government watchdog, a real government watchdog, the Office of Special Counsel, said Wednesday it's pursuing cases against 3 other tax agency employees and offices suspended of illegal political activity in support of President Obama and fellow Democrats. In one case, the Office of Special Counsel, which investigates federal employees who conduct politics on government time, said it was commonplace in a Dallas IRS office for employees to have pro-Obama screensavers on their computers and to have campaign-style buttons and stickers at their office. In another case, a worker at the tax agency's customer helpline urged taxpayers, quote, to re-elect President Obama in 2012 by repeatedly reciting a chant based on the spelling of his last name. So reported the Office of Special Counsel, and they're seeking disciplinary action. Another IRS employee in Kentucky has agreed to serve a 14-day suspension for blasting Republicans in a conversation with a taxpayer. There's not even a smidgen of problems over there at the IRS. We know this because Obama said so, and Obama's really hands-on. He really is. As tonight he's in a secret fundraiser where the press isn't allowed. No. At a billionaire's house. Trial lawyer, ambulance chasers, which help fund the Democrat Party. The Kochs hate. Ambulance chasing trial lawyers love. See? Kochs hate. Ambulance chasing trial lawyers love. Remember, it used to be Richard Mellon Scaife hate. George Soros love. And of course, the media perpetuate this. It goes on and on and on and on.